So, as I mentioned before, we will be reading from the last section of Roar the Ganges. Yesterday we finished the last chapter, but I thought I'd save the final few short pages, which contain an afterword, some more information, and a note about the author. It is very short, but I think it will make for a nice concluding segment of this book. Also, Sky Guardian has sent me a wonderful picture, a picture of Swamiji, its author, who was signing it for me, which I'd love to share with you all. There is a picture of him signing the book for me and through me to all of you. And of course, here is that inscription here, which reads, "To Liam, my full name, with prayer and best wishes, Om Tadatmananda." And of course, as I mentioned, in email with him, he gave permission for me to read this book to all of you. So this book has a kind of vibration to it. And I'm so grateful to have gone through this journey of reading it with you all. And because I don't think I've showed you who Swamiji looks like, I also have a picture of him with his guru. He is on the right there. And there is his guru, Swami Dayananda, which we met through this book as well. That's a lovely picture of them together I found. So without further ado, let us read the afterword. In May of 1993, I returned to Arsha Vidya Gurukulam in Saylorsburg, Pennsylvania. I had left as Mark Berrien, Gurukulam manager, and returned as Swami Tadatmananda. Returning to this familiar setting of friends and colleagues after such a transition was a bit strange, for them and for me. Most Gurukulam residents at that time were Westerners. They were accustomed to seeing Indian sannyasis, renunciates, but ironically not to seeing one of their own kind. At first, they did not know how to relate to me. Was I a colleague, manager, sadhu? I reached out to assure them that I was the same person they knew before, in spite of my dramatic change of attire. Not long after my return, other residents came forward to assume responsibility for running the Gurukulam. Frankly, I was delighted to be relieved of my role as manager. It was, without doubt, the most difficult job of my life, far more than the technical challenges I faced as an engineer and consultant in California years before. In retrospect, it seems to me that I was not a particularly adept manager. I lacked the deep maturity and extraordinary people skills that such a job truly requires. Nevertheless, I did the best I could, given my heart, mind, and 12 hours a day to take care of the Gurukulam. Being free of administrative responsibilities was a great blessing for me. It allowed me the opportunity to live a much more contemplative life. My prayer, meditation, and spiritual studies all grew in intensity and depth. I felt it a great privilege to live as a sadhu in the United States. I resumed teaching the classes I had started while still manager. Those classes at the Bethlehem Public Library and East Stroudsburg's University were attended mostly by Western seekers. I arrived at those classes wearing an orange shirt and orange pants. Very peculiar, but less so than wearing a dhoti. Students wanted to learn about my initiation as a sannyasi and seemed to respect my commitment to monastic life. After several weeks, I shed my orange shirt and pants and resumed wearing an orange dhoti and upper cloth. I soon learned to accept the quizzical stares of clueless Pennsylvanians. I sometimes found myself at a service station pumping gas into my car. Fellow drivers found this an amusing sight. Their smiles helped me learn not to be so concerned about other people's judgments. They saw a strange fellow wrapped in orange bedsheets, but they really didn't know me, nor did they know anything about the tradition of sannyasa, renunciation. So how could I blame them for their wrong conclusions? I was called upon more frequently to teach at the Gurukulam. Swami Dayananda was present there only 3 months a year. In his absence, several of his senior disciples came from India to teach in addition to me. Whereas the other Swamis would come to the Gurukulam and return to India after 3 or 4 months, I had the privilege of living there year-round. Each summer, the Gurukulam offered a number of week-long retreats for families who came for programs of Vedanta classes, meditation, and cultural activities. During these camps, I was asked to conduct classes for the many children and teens who accompanied their parents. These youths were from Indian families but raised in this country. The classes were meant to teach them Hindu religion and culture. I was hesitant at first to teach these kids. As an adult, I had very little contact with youngsters. I wondered if I could even relate to them. After getting started, however, I found it easy to engage them in fun and meaningful learning activities. To my surprise, I thoroughly enjoyed teaching children and teens. Even more surprising is how well they seemed to relate to me. Many of them had previously been taught by Swamis from India, whose heavy accents and lack of appreciation for American culture created a sense of alienation. And just as the kids found it difficult to relate with such Swamis, the Swamis found it difficult to relate to kids who were religiously Hindu but culturally quite American. Fortunately for me, the kids who came to the Gurukulam and I shared a crucial, formative experience. We all grew up in the United States. Year after year, my teaching activities at the Gurukulam and elsewhere grew steadily. People came to the Gurukulam from all corners of the country. Some, after attending my classes, invited me to give programs in their hometowns. Before long, I was traveling to cities around the country to conduct Vedanta seminars, meditation workshops, and classes for children and teens. In addition to these teaching activities, I was able to organize and conduct 2 yatras, pilgrimages, to India for students from the Gurukulam. As time allowed, I also wrote articles, translated texts, and composed songs for children. Many attendees of Arsha Vidya Gurukulam Sunday morning program travel from central New Jersey, where a large Indian community lives. I observed that enthusiastic new students would attend regularly for several months, and then they would stop coming. The long drive of 1.5 hours each way proved to be too much for all but the most devoted students, devoted devotees. I frequently taught in central New Jersey, so I asked some of my students who lived there if a need existed for an ashram in their community, a local branch of the Gurukulam where they could regularly attend programs. They were excited by the idea and ready to help make it a reality. A dedicated student from New Jersey offered to help me find a suitable location to establish an ashram. After many months, an ideal site was found in Somerset. In June of 2000, with Swami Dayananda's blessings, I left Arsha Vidya Gurukulam and moved to the site of the new ashram in New Jersey. I left with mixed feelings. The Gurukulam had been my home for the past 14 years, a time of tremendous spiritual growth. I was sad to leave, yet I looked forward to teaching the many eager students waiting in New Jersey. On September 16th, 2000, Swami Dayananda came to inaugurate our newly established ashram. He named it Arsha Bodha Center, a center for wisdom, Bodha, of the ancient sages, Arsha. Classes started immediately in a hall no larger than a big living room. It was soon filled beyond its capacity. Due to the community's enthusiastic response and generous support, we were soon able to construct a beautiful new lecture hall, temple, and spacious parking lot. Today, hundreds of adults, teens, and children come each week for a variety of programs on the Bhagavad Gita, Vedanta, meditation, Sanskrit, Vedic chanting, and more. At first I was surprised by how quickly our ashram grew, but in retrospect, it was to be expected. About 100,000 Hindus live in central New Jersey. At least 8 Hindu temples have been built nearby. Yet for those who want to study Vedanta and Sanskrit, these temples offer little or nothing. Most temples also fail to address the needs of children and teens. The community had many places of worship, but was thirsty for a place of spiritual learning. Thank you for your love, Billy, and everyone. The Arsha Bodha Center has become a blessing not only for the local community, but for me as well. It provides a beautiful, serene place for my spiritual practice and affords me the opportunity to share what I have learned with so many wonderful and devoted students. I am deeply grateful for the community's participation and support. And one of such devoted students of the Arsha Bodha Center and disciple of Swamiji is none other than Sky Guardian, without whom we certainly wouldn't be reading this book today, especially not an autographed copy. So thank you. And I'm so grateful that he was called to make an ashram in New Jersey so that I could also meet Sky Guardian over the internet, of course. By the way, Sky Guardian loves sending me all the comments about his guru and how people love the book on our YouTube channel. So if you want to send some love that way, please feel free to make a comment on the YouTube videos where we upload this series, and it would very much make his day by knowing that he was able to do some guru seva, some selfless service for his spiritual teacher. Now that's the end of the afterword. Just a quick note on further information. For more information about Swami Tadatmananda and his teachings, please visit our website www.arshabodha.org. You will find many articles and hundreds of hours of recorded lectures freely available for listening or downloading. There's also the Arsha Bodha YouTube channel, which is where I first came to know about Swami Tadatmananda. In my study of Sanskrit and Vedic literature, some wonderful YouTube videos. Swamiji, having a background in computer science, has really put it to use in the high quality videos that he makes on his YouTube channel. And the author may be contacted through this address, which I will leave it to you to discover if you want to contact him. Finally, our little blurb about the author. And this will be the final page and a half that we read. Swami Tadatmananda was born in 1953 to Christian parents in the suburbs of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He grew up during the tumultuous 1960s, a time of anti-war protests, experimentation with drugs, and spiritual exploration. Sounds a lot like today, doesn't it? After getting married and receiving a degree in electrical engineering, he moved to California and worked in the computer field. There, his marriage soon ended, but he found the opportunity to practice meditation and yoga under the guidance of several teachers from India. In 1981, he met Swami Dayananda, a traditional teacher of Vedanta. He studied Vedanta and Sanskrit under Swami Dayananda's tutelage. I love that word, tutelage. And went to India for further studies in 1986. He then left his home and successful career to move to Arsha Vidya Gurukulam, an ashram in Pennsylvania's Pocono Mountains, to undertake a 3-year residential course in Vedanta, meditation, and Sanskrit, taught by Swami Dayananda. Soon after the course, he assumed the responsibility for managing Arsha Vidya Gurukulam. In 1993, he was initiated as a sannyasi, a Hindu monk, by Swami Dayananda on the banks of the Ganges River in Rishikesh. He then began to teach at Arsha Vidya Gurukulam and throughout the United States, giving lectures, seminars, and meditation workshops for various organizations, temples, universities, and industries. Finally, in 2000, with the blessings of his guru, Swami Dayananda, he established his own ashram, the Arsha Bodha Center in Somerset, New Jersey, where he continues to teach. The end. And that was literally the last page of the book. Now, now that we have thoroughly read this book, we can really transition to reading our next book, that is In Love at Ease, tomorrow. And hopefully we'll be beginning to understand some of the spiritual teachings of a whole different style of spirituality that focuses first on bhakti and seva. That'll be very interesting. So thank you for listening, everyone.